All right. Thank you everyone for being with us here today, and welcome to the 2025 Big Ten Rowing Invitational Coaches Press Conference. We are here and joined by some of our coaches and programs that will be competing this weekend. We're grateful to everybody who's participated to this point and everyone who will help make today a special event for this regatta. We're going to begin, if we could, with some opening statements and some thoughts from coaches. Please make sure, media members and coaches, if you're not speaking, that your microphone is muted. We'd love to get some thoughts, maybe 30 seconds worth of opening statement thoughts from our coaches, and we'll begin with the coach from Michigan, Mark Rothstein.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Ready to go, coach. Thank you.
All right, great. Um, yeah, I was thinking about this a little bit ago, just kind of reflecting on the Big Ten conference and rowing. I mean, I've been a Big Ten sports fan since I was 2 years old. I've been a Big Ten rowing fan most of my life. And when I started coaching, it was just Wisconsin. Like that was basically the Big Ten and some good club programs. And now you look at the Big Ten and it's just so strong, and obviously with the addition of the West Coast teams, it's much stronger. But yeah, it's just cool to reflect on it. And this event, I'm just really excited for it. I think it's going to be a great event. I think the teams that are visiting are really strong as well. So it's just I was looking at the schedule Mary sent, and I was looking at Sunday morning. I'm like, holy cow, that looks like it could be a final at NCAAs. It's just really good competition. So I'm really really excited for the weekend.
Thank you very much, coach. If we could move on in our opening statements here to Ohio State and Coach Gakowski. Coach?
Yeah, hi. I think this is, like Mark said, this is a really cool thing to be part of. I started rowing in the Big Ten in 2014, and I've been in the Big Ten for most of my career now. And just getting to be part of this group of head coaches is quite an honor because there's so much prestige in this conference with the coaches. And yeah, I think this is a really exciting race to go to. It has a huge weight for standings at the end of the season. It's a great opportunity for everybody to get out there and race some really good crews. So I'm really excited to bring the team down and have a good weekend of racing. And yeah, Saturday's going to be a fun one for sure.
Thank you very much, coach. Let's move on to Rutgers and Coach Price.
Thanks, Chad. We're fired up and excited as always. Looking forward to this event. It's always a big one on our calendar. I want to start by just thanking everybody from the University of Michigan and the staff there, as well as Mary for everything and all the hard work that's gone into putting this event on. I know it's not easy, and there's a lot that goes into it, and so we really, really appreciate everything that everyone's done to make this happen and everything that everybody will do this weekend. But looking ahead, yeah, we just have a lot of pride in being in the Big Ten. We also are really appreciative of all of the guests that are be coming to participate in this regatta to make it something really, really special, and to make it really high level racing, which is, back when we started and sort of the vision for the Big Ten Invitational, when we put this together was let's make this one of the top regular season events around in the country. And I think that we've done that, and we would not be able to do that without, obviously a strong conference, but then without the strong competitors from outside of the league as well. So we're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, coach. All right, we'll move on with our comments to the coach at Washington, Coach Farouk.
Hi there. Well, this will be our first Big Ten Invitational, and we're really looking forward to it. Typically, at this point in the season, we'll have had a chance to look at the West Coast teams at the San Diego Crew Classic, which we did this year with USC and UCLA, and also Notre Dame was there. So we got that sneak peek, but I dare say that I think this will be the most watched race thus far this season. All eyes are going to be on this. Not only is the entire Big Ten competing, but to have 22 teams in one place on an awesome course is going to be it's going to be fantastic racing. Obviously, 6 lanes across, which is really to have that chance this early in the season is just fantastic. So we're looking forward to getting maybe a little preview of the Big Ten championships. but also just a great opportunity for a lot of cross-regional references. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Coach. All right, well, that wraps up our comments from our Big Ten coaches. Now we'll move on to our invitational schools, starting with Duke and Coach Spracklen.
Thank you, Chad. Yes, this is a new test for me. I want to thank the Big Ten for the invitation. I know coming here, this is something that has always been a quality regatta and something that our student athletes get really excited about. And so having it on such a prestigious course that we know is it's just run really well, and it gives us a taste of what's ahead. But I know hopefully I speak for all the ACC in saying that we appreciate the invites, the ones that are down here, and also that we're very excited to be a part of this and very gracious to be a part, and hope we can provide some exciting racing and some good competition for everybody. And we are really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach. We'll move on to our Ivy League representative in Penn, Coach Manning.
Yes, thank you all. Really ditto. I think it's just a fabulous thing that the Big Ten has put together, and we recognize the Big Ten as one of the strongest rowing conferences in the country, and we're going to try to represent the Ivy League as one of the strongest rowing conferences in the country, along with Duke and, Brown and Harvard. But it looks perfect, and I think it's a great indication of the growth of the sport, and that growth has really been a function of so many people, such as those on this call, who have worked hard to create this kind of an opportunity for the student athletes. So thanks for including us, and we're excited to see everybody.
Thank you very much, Coach. All right, we'll wrap up our opening comments here with Tennessee and Coach Capini.
Hey, thank you very much. You guys said it great. Everybody said it really well, especially Justin, just thanking everyone that puts a lot of work into it, Mary and Michigan this year for hosting. I think I've been part of the Big Ten invite for definitely over 5 years now at different schools. And I know how much effort is put into the race. And so we're super excited to get out there. Like Yaz said, 22 teams on an amazing race course is pretty impressive. So super excited to be out there, and can't thank everybody enough for all the work that goes behind the scenes to kick it off. And we're super excited for the racing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach, and all the coaches for your thoughts and contributions so far. That should conclude our opening thoughts, and we're ready to take questions from media members at this time. If anyone does have a question, please utilize the raise your hand function to get my attention. If you find that might not be working, feel free to send me a direct chat. All right, and we'll begin with a member of our broadcast crew, Caroline Hendershot. Caroline, feel free to unmute yourself and go right ahead.
Hi, everyone. Caroline Hendershot. I'm going to be part of the crew calling the races. I'm very excited to see you all down there. My question, I'm going to start with Coach Farouk for Washington. You kind of said this is a good opportunity to preview the Big Ten championships. How beneficial is having this race at this point in the season, just in general, because you are a month out from Big Ten championships and it's your first year in the Big Ten?
I think when all of the original Big Ten coaches set this up, the goal was for it to be in the second half of the season, because at that point, lineups are starting to form up. The polls are, the ranking system with the NCAA is more concrete as well. The results are more meaningful as far as seeding. So I think the preview of the Big Tens is awesome. This year, the Big Tens will have a heat and a final, so that's different. So you'll also have, a progression once you're there. But I think for the cross references with other conferences, this race is really important because it is in the latter half of the season, so they will carry some weight.
Thank you very much, Caroline and Coach Farouk. If we have additional questions, please feel free to use the raise your hand function and we can get to whoever's next. All right, our next question is from Fergus. Go ahead, Fergus.
Hi, excuse me. Fergus Mainland from JRN over in the United Kingdom. One for Coach Rothstein at Michigan. Just very interested to get your thoughts on last weekend's racing at Texas, and what are some of those lessons you're taking into this weekend's racing down in Sarasota?
Yeah, it was a really good trip for us in terms of racing one of the top, top teams in the country and seeing their speed. And I think it was also just nice to get we've not had great weather this April, so it was nice to get down in some warm weather. It was actually really hot down there, which was nice to prepare us for this weekend. And I thought, you know, we were clearly the underdogs going in, and we were outclassed, no question, by Texas. But I liked the way we raced. I thought we raced hard, and we we've shown some improvement. So we're a work in progress. But I really am excited about how the team has responded. So yeah, it was good. It was a good weekend. Texas was a great host, and we had great weather, so it was really a nice weekend.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll move to Fraser for our next question. Go ahead, Fraser.
Fraser Innes, also GRN from the UK. Coach Spracklin, obviously with your family background, you're no stranger to coaching in high performance environments. No, but how have you found moving from an elite Division Two program in Mercyhurst into your new role at Duke?
Yes, it's been a great transition. It has been a transition. People are the same. Humans are humans. The biggest difference really is the size of the engine. The engine's a lot bigger at this level, and so, but the principles, the way you train, I haven't changed those. It's been an adaptation. But it's a learning environment. Just going to any institution is different. It's not necessarily the Duke program that's different in itself, but just getting used to how the administration and just getting your bearings and knowing what works and what doesn't work. It'd be easy just to carbon copy exactly what you do, but there are some challenges. Every program has challenges, and so it's just a different set of challenges. And that's the exciting part. And one of those is becoming to row with the elite programs in the US. And so I'm learning my way and learning a lot on the way, but it's been a great trip so far. And I'm going to continue to learn and continue to hopefully strengthen the program to the upper echelon of what my goal was to build the program.
Thank you very much, Coach. For our next question, we'll go to another member of our broadcast team, Lauren Schmetterling. Go ahead, Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren Schmetterling. As Chad mentioned, I will be a part of the broadcast team this weekend. My question is for Coach Farouk. My curiosity really lies in your background with the US team and your time at Stanford and now 10 years at Washington, 9 years at Washington. What has changed and what has stayed the same in your time as an athlete and as a coach?
Oh, wow. I started out at the other UW, Wisconsin. Although if I'm in Wisconsin, then everything that I do at Washington is called the other UW there. So forever at the other UW. I mean, I started in the 80s. It was pre-NCAA. Most of us were walk-ons, right? And and now there is, more diversity in the people who are on the teams. Like for us, we'll have some junior national team members, some elite people from other countries, still have a healthy dose of local kids who discover rowing at the University of Washington, and then also a lot of local kids who row here on the waters of Lake Union and Lake Washington that dream of being Huskies. So I think that piece is similar, for Washington over the years. We still have that blend of people, but certainly I think you have more across the board. The other coaches may have thoughts here, but you have more experienced people coming into the mix. I think that the NCAAs are the most competitive racing outside of the Olympics personally. And the level is just so high. Sometimes in the semis, it's, hundreds of seconds that determine who goes into the final. So when I started, there weren't that many teams. I think there were maybe 30 some, and now we've got 180 or so in all three divisions. And so it's ultra competitive in all the best ways. And I remember in 2019 when there were 5 teams that put a boat in all 3 NCAA finals, and that was the first time that it ever happened. And I remember feeling very lucky because that's the state that's how competitive women's rowing has now become. And so I just think that it's pretty special that we have parents in high school of kids from other sports who still see the opportunities in women's rowing, and the athleticism just continues to get better and better.
Thank you very much, Coach. Media members, if your question ends up being for more than one coach, please feel free to chime back in and ask for additional commentary. For our next question, we'll go back to Caroline Hendershot. Go ahead, Caroline.
My question is for Coach Rothstein. I was wondering about Katie Easton. I know that she was on the athlete watch list this year. Just kind of what have you seen from her this past season, and what does she bring to your varsity 8?
Yeah, thanks, Caroline. Katie's, I guess you're not supposed to have favorites, but Katie's definitely one of my favorites. Like, just an unbelievable person, incredibly hardworking. She's kind of a rare combination of 3 things. She's talented. She's the hardest worker on the team, one of the hardest workers I've ever coached. And she is all about the team. Like, she doesn't have a selfish bone in her body. She doesn't make it about herself. She doesn't, she'll push her teammates. She'll get frustrated with her teammates. She'll get frustrated with herself, but she doesn't make it about herself. She takes rowing really seriously. She takes her academics seriously. But she doesn't take herself too seriously. And yeah, you would have loved rowing with her, Caroline. You would have loved rowing with her. She's just one of those people that you love to coach. So, and she's had a great senior year. Like, she's much faster on the ergometer than she's ever been. She's just a really stellar student athlete.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We have 2 more questions in the queue right now. Feel free to continue raising those hands if you have them. Right now, we'll go over to Hudson Forster. Hudson, if you can hear me, you're on mute, but we're ready for your question. All right, we'll see if we can reconnect with Hudson soon. Now we'll move on to Reka Leonard. Go ahead, Reka.
Hi, Rachel Leonard from the Michigan Daily. Another question for Coach Rothstein. You guys have had a lot of success in the Big Ten lately, coming off back-to-back Big Ten championships. Does that add any pressure for you guys to perform well at an event like the Big Ten Invitational this weekend?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think any pressure that we had, we removed in our early races. So we're we're not where we wanted to be. And I think what I've loved about this team is that, they haven't pointed fingers. They haven't gotten down on themselves. They haven't gotten down on each other. And they've just kept coming to practice and working hard. And so I think that we're just excited to improve each week and see where that takes us. But no, I don't think there's, I don't think last year has any impact on this year.
All right. Thank you, Coach. For our next question, we'll head over to Chip Davis. Go ahead, Chip.
Hi, Chip Davis from Rowing News here. Sort of a 2-part question, and I particularly want to hear from definitely Kim representing the SEC, and then maybe Emily for the Big Ten. Those are the biggest and best athletic conferences in terms of size and money in the US, and now they're taking rowing really seriously. I'd like to hear from each of you what that's like to be at an athletic department that has that level of professionalism for college sports. And then the follow-on question to that is the format of this regatta. It's not a progression, right? Like this isn't a championship. There seems to be a setup so everyone gets to race everyone. Do you see this growing into something that will have a champion, that will have a progression based on speed and results, or do you think it's always going to be the mix and match so everyone can get their best shot at the rankings benefit?
Hey Chip, this is Kim. Thanks for your question. I'll answer the first part. Yeah, it definitely is awesome for the SEC to start a rowing championship. I think it's huge for our sport whenever a conference, even if it's a conference that doesn't support a ton of rowing schools, or a ton of schools in rowing. I think it's huge for our sport. Anytime athletic directors and a conference stands up and says, "Hey, we want to support rowing," that's definitely a big win for all of us coaches across the board. It's been awesome to see, obviously, what Dave has done at Texas, and just we're trying to be as competitive as we can be. It's awesome to go to the invite to step up against all of these teams. I think there's always, like Mark said, there's always pressure, kind of no matter what. You want to do the best you can for the women that are competing, and you want to do the best you can for the school. And so I don't think there's any pressure there that's not there at any school in the SEC. I think it's just exciting to want to perform and represent the SEC as well, and just be a representative there at the Big Ten invite as one of the SEC representatives. It's awesome to have that opportunity. And yeah, it's interesting. This race doesn't have a progression, which is kind of nice because once we get to, NCAAs, there's a progression. So I can't really speak on it where it's going to go. That's up to the Big Ten. But it's awesome that I guess we can, since it is moving through the season, it's still a part of time where we might have lineup changes. So that just provides some opportunity there when it's not a progression change, when it's not a progression to make changes there. So I think that's kind of unique to this race. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if I answered all your questions, but
Is there the possibility of making lineup changes during the regatta?
As far as I know in the past, because it's not a progression from one race to the next, as long as you're updating that, yes, you can make changes. Traditionally it's not that much turnaround time, so we haven't done a lot of that, but there is the option if it's not a progression. It's each race is a separate race, is my understanding. So, and I don't know if Mark, you want to comment on that, because I don't know if it's changed over the years, but.
Yeah, no, Kim's right. It's you can make any changes you want in between racing.
Yeah, and Chip, I can go ahead and step in. As far as like being in this very competitive conference, the Big Ten conference, with the athletic department that is Ohio State, it's quite a task to take on. It's quite a job to do, especially for your first head coaching job. So it's been a lot of learning, but it's learning that I've been really excited to do. This is my 6th year being involved with Ohio State. And it's been a lot of fun to get to see where the program was, 6 years ago. I even volunteer coached when I was right out of college. So I've been part of the program for quite a while. See where the program was then and where we've gone over the last 5 years, and now get to add my own stamp on this. And the athletic department at Ohio State is great. It's incredibly supportive. Because I've been here for so long, I know a lot of the people. I know who can help me get certain things done. And I think at Ohio State, everybody talks about rowing as a Title IX sport, and we have that. That's what keeps us going. But I think here it's more than a Title IX sport. I think at Ohio State, like, they really want every team to do well. And I'm not sure how much everybody follows, college sports in general, but Ohio State's having an incredible year in athletics. Our softball team has a brand new head coach, and they've smashed home run records over and over and over. Ohio State really is a brand, and the athletic program itself is a brand. So when you have this much money getting funneled into an athletic program, you really feel that pressure to perform, and you want to perform with that pressure. I think it's an honor to be part of this program and an honor to be part of this conference with these coaches. So it's really exciting, and I think even with the changes that are going through the NCAA, it'll continue to change everyone's athletic department and it'll change every rowing program. But I think the more that we can all continue to learn from it and work with it, I think it'll continue to make rowing even more and more competitive. The walk-ons has always been an important part of every Big Ten program, and I think all of us will still keep part of that, and that's also an exciting thing for all of us. As far as this growing to a championship, I think that Mark can probably speak a little bit more. I know Mark is obviously running it this year, and Ohio State was the first host when we did this. It was supposed to happen in 2020 and then it got canceled. My belief is that it will stay like this, not a progression, just a selection of who you're racing, just so there's more cross results and you don't end up racing the same people. I think getting some more times against other people is helpful for seeding and just having a variety of results.
Thank you very much, coaches, for your thoughts. We have 4 more questions in the queue right now. So just to keep media members aware of the order, we'll go Hudson and then Lauren, and then Fraser and then Caroline. So Hudson is back with us. Hudson, let's see if we can get you on. Go ahead.
Hi there, Hudson Forster with Four Stars Network. Just wanted to jump in here and ask a question to Justin Price over at Rutgers. You guys have had an unbelievable year, just been kind of climbing up the leaderboard, it seems like. And I'm just curious as to what really, that's been like for you as a coach to see the program jump from, even point A to point, I don't even know at this point. I mean, you guys are usually doing unbelievable work. I'm just curious, what exactly has that been? What triggered it across the team, all over the team, to kind of take that jump? Was it leadership? Was it a certain athlete? Kind of what's been the cause of that? Because it's been unbelievable to see your guys' progression this year.
Thanks, Hudson. Yeah, we've had a good start to the year in our first couple events, first couple races, and it's been good to get back to training for 2 weeks, and we're looking forward to getting back out for our third time competing this weekend. Every year is a different year. We really are trying to build a lot of momentum as a program from year to year, but we know every team and every year is its own year. So this year we have a great group. We have a great senior leadership for sure. A lot of our seniors are stepping up in a way that's really inspiring to me, to our staff, to our team, to some of our younger athletes. And we have some of our younger athletes really stepping up and they're fired up and they're really contributing. We have a really good team. But yeah, I would say if I was to point to any area of the team to specifically point out what's leading the charge, it has been an extraordinary group of seniors that is very motivated. They're taking the lead, and they're very motivated and they're ambitious, and they're looking to build on our early start to the year.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach and Hudson. We'll head to our next question now, which I believe was with Lauren Schmetterling. Go ahead, Lauren.
Thank you, Chad. I would love to hear from some of the coaches that are in the first or second year with their current program. Where do you see your team culture right now, and where are you hoping to go in the next couple of seasons? So that would be Bill, Kim, Emily, Adrian. I'd love to hear from you.
I'm happy to jump in first. The culture I inherited was very strong to begin with, and it stems, as I think we all know, is strong seniors and strong leadership. Whenever I've had good teams, it's because you have good captains and good seniors, and so the culture on the team I hear at Duke is we've continually to develop the culture. To develop the environment that's going to bring the best out in their experience and their development. And so really there's nothing I need to change. I just want to enhance and continue to make sure that a strong culture leads to strong results and strong performance and a strong experience, a good experience. And so I like where we're at and want to continue to build on that, because I know that a culture is very important to longevity of a program and maintaining a high level and a high standard. So I'm happy where it's at and want to keep building on it.
Thank you very much, Coach. All right, we'll move to our next question. And Fraser, oh, I'm sorry. Did we have more responses to come to that one? I apologize.
I can speak. I want to let some others speak, but this is Kim from Tennessee. I'm in my second year here, and obviously, we had a lot of fire last year with a lot of women that believed in the program that I was at prior, and coming with that really wanted to come, and so now we're working on obviously continuing that drive and that fire to perform and that excitement. So obviously, competition is awesome this year. People are racing super fast, and there's been a lot of good results already. But just trying to step up and continue to perform to represent, rowing, Tennessee, SEC, everything. We're just super excited to be a part of it, and we hope to create that culture to keep coming back every year and really being a force and putting out some great races and having great competition. So we're excited for the second year. Thanks.
And I'll just jump in real quick here, Lauren. This is obviously my first year. The team culture, I think I agree with Adrian that seniors definitely drive the leadership. But I think that we also have a lot of underclassmen who are helping us go fast. I think, having seen the culture for the last 5 years, there's definitely some changes to make, and I think that it's a work in progress. There's a lot of learning to be done here, a lot of learning to be done. The biggest change that I'm working on making is just increasing the level of competitiveness within the program. I think that that's something that was really missing in the last couple of years of just like this willingness to compete with each other and this willingness to go faster with each other and for each other, because that's ultimately how you get faster. So that's been a big focus for us this year, is just level of competitiveness.
Thank you very much, coaches. All right, sorry for the early ending there. Now I think we're ready for a question from Fraser.
Coach Manning, one for you. I realize you've not been able to get terribly involved so far. You've come across sort of a long boathouse row this summer from Penn AC, and with a Penn stepping into a Penn program that was definitely on the rise. What are you trying to sort of to keep that upward trajectory from coaching previously, and what are you trying to sort of add to your own spin on the stroke, the program, the culture, whatever?
Oh, I think I'm going to sound like everybody else on the call. I think we're all philosophically fairly well aligned. And I honestly don't know that I have a lot of originality to contribute. I would think that the changes that we've experienced here have largely been a function of personality. It's a function of having a staff that is also perhaps more comfortable and able to play a larger role in the program than previously. Um, but like some others on this call, I was fortunate to enter a situation that was not broken, and step into something that's a very good situation that enjoyed a real good streak of success, and we're looking to continue that. And the changes that we've made, the adaptations that we've made have largely been a function of the personality. Each team's a little bit different. You graduate your seniors, you enroll new students, and the coaching staff is different. So we think those changes have been valuable, but it's not so much a necessarily better as it is just different and better for this group of people.
All right, thank you very much, Coach Manning. We'll move to our next question back to Caroline Hendershot. Go ahead, Caroline.
Okay, I have two questions. So I'm going to hit Coach Manning first, and then I'm going to go to Coach Capini with Tennessee. But Coach Manning, I was wondering kind of what your thoughts were on just the Ivy League in general. There's 4 teams in the top 12, and I just feel like the Ivy League is kind of making a little bit of a statement this year with those numbers.
Well, 4 in the top 12, I'm afraid Penn's letting us down because last year we were 4 in the top 10 at NCAAs. So I'm not holding up my end of the bargain here for our league at this point in time in the season anyway. Look, I mean, the Ivy was the top league in women's rowing last season, last year. And it's certainly been one of the top leagues every year of the NCAA championships. I think there's a very good chance that the Big Ten might end up dethroning the Ivy League this year. And whether that happens or whether it doesn't happen, I think it's just going to be great racing. It's great to see multiple conferences producing such fast boats. And I think what also is very interesting to me is different leagues operate a bit differently. There are different constraints in different leagues. There are different advantages in different leagues. Every coach likes to cry about their constraints and recognize other people's advantages, but we all have both. And at the end of the day, we still show up on race day, and races are decided by fractions of a second. So I think it's pretty exciting for our sport to have multiple leagues taking it as seriously as they are. And I think it's wonderful for student athletes to have that variety of experiences available to them as they look to where they want to continue their rowing at university. So I think an event like this to me is fabulous because it brings together not just the cream of the crop as occurs at NCAA, but it brings together a real representative sampling, obviously the entire Big Ten, and then a mix of programs from other leagues. So I really applaud the Big Ten for putting this event together and structuring it the way they have, and I thank them from our athletes for doing it this way.
Thank you. And then, Coach Kakini, I was wondering I know you had a lot of success last year with your first year with Tennessee. What do you feel like is that bottom line that helps you really transform a program? Is it the culture? Is it the rowers? Is it something specifically? Because I know you've had a lot of success doing that at multiple programs.
Yeah, great question. Super deep question. I think someone said it on this call that every institution is very different, and I think just learning how to be adaptable to the institution and to the athletes that are there, and like Bill just said, now like every program has its advantages and disadvantages, and they're all very different, and some have different setups. So I think really taking advantage of what you have has been huge for us, and getting the most out of every student athlete within those challenges or positives, I think is just something that we've been really successful on, with our coaching staff and building the programs. So it's been an awesome journey. Definitely been at quite a few programs in that building process, and I think that's been huge for us. Just the working with the student athletes and getting them to be able to develop as best as they can. Even though they might not come in with a ginormous background. So that's been awesome, and I think like I said, the coaches said it really well. Everybody has their advantages and disadvantages, so really trying to learn and be adaptable from that. Great question, though. Hard one to answer.
Thank you very much, Coach. I know we are approaching a time where we'll have practices, workouts, meetings beginning soon. So let's call this a last call, so to speak, for questions. We do have at least one more to get to. Now would also be a good time to remind folks that our streaming service this weekend, all races will be covered by RHS TV. For any Big Ten schools or anyone with social media clipping availability, those races can also be shared on social media throughout the weekend. We have two more questions, or three, it looks like, in the queue right now. Let's begin with Fraser. Go ahead.
Coach Farouk, well, when I was doing my preseason preparation, I was pulling out athletes that are new to the program, and I don't think I have a bigger list than at Washington of high-level athletes. How do you deal with bringing all the different styles of rowing together and styles of personalities, from transfers, Olympic red shirts, junior internationals, under 23 internationals, Megan coming across from the boat race squads? How do you bring everyone together under your singular Washington style?
I think if anything, it's like, when you run a national team camp, you've got to do that when you bring people in from different universities. And if anything, you get a little more time. So instead of 2 or 3 weeks to build some lineups and do selection for a world championship, you've got an entire season to do it. So I think, credit to the athletes for being versatile and being open to rowing our way. Last summer, I had I coached that U.S. development boat that went to Henley, and it was a similar situation. So having been thrown into that fire, if anything, it was just a reminder to me that you do have a season to put people together. And they're just a great group of people, and I'm really glad that they felt like Washington was a place that they wanted to be. And they're doing really good work for us, and they are great athletes who are capable of rowing a lot of different ways. And I think we all know there are many ways to make a boat go fast. And so as far as, what the style is, I think that the athletes you have in the program and who's stroking the boat has a lot to do with what that is. So what we've put together, I think, is a technique that draws upon their strengths.
Thank you very much, Coach. We'll go next to Hudson. Go ahead, Hudson.
Hi, Hudson Forster with Four Stars Network back again. I got a quick question for Adrian. I know that you've been kind of bombarded with questions this year, but we've talked a little bit, or at least Emily kind of talked a little bit about Ohio State's brand. And we actually did a huge poll, and Duke was actually in the top 4 for like the best, some of the best brand of the sport. And I was just curious, kind of like your media team's been really working hard on trying to make this image of Duke rowing. What's been your part in that at all? If there's been any part of it, just kind of making sure that, you guys are utilizing your brand to impact the program and help, recruit athletes for, future generations.
Yeah, Hudson, that's an interesting, deep question. Yeah, the Duke brand is obviously very well known. What my role plays in that, I think that just through the initial, when they approached me about the position, that was my first question, is if my philosophy was going to fit in with what Duke is looking for and what they want. And then that was the reason why I came here. It's the philosophy that I have mixes in with what Duke believes and preaches throughout their athletic department. And it's something that is very well known to a lot of people, and something I was very I learned a lot about who they are, my perceptions, but getting to know them and as people and as an athletic department and as a university, what they hold strong and dear to them is it fits in very well with what I believe and what I feel rowing plays as part of the experience that Duke is looking for. And so, yes, part of the attraction and the lure is, that Duke is going to acquire some very academically driven individuals, which falls in line with something that I'm looking for. Rowers are generally smart, disciplined, high achieving people, and Duke added rowing. Part of that reason was attracting more of that type of student athlete, and so that fits in very much with what I believe and are drawn towards, which is we're all drawn to high achieving people. Rowers they like to suffer a lot, and rowing you suffer a lot in many different ways. And Duke is an environment they've done very well in other sports, and they preach excellence on the water and in the classroom. And but they support the student athlete, which was very important to me. And so that was part of the attraction of I get to do what I love to do with Duke as a brand and a reputation behind it, which helps me do more of what I hope to achieve here. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Coach. Okay, we'll go to our last question in the queue for today. Fergus, go ahead.
Thank you very much. One for Coach Capini at Tennessee. We're looking forward to what will be a highly competitive SEC championship, one that, based on last year's NCAA results, packs a real punch across the teams that are racing. But I'm wondering more broadly, obviously, we're getting the first edition of that this year. What impact are you hoping that has on the rest of the SEC schools, perhaps being more interested in taking up rowing at some of those schools?
Yeah, I think once the SEC announced that they were going to take on rowing, there's definitely been a little bit more interest, a little bit more discussions between the ADs. So that's really awesome. And I know behind the scenes coaches get so busy, but I do know that all of us genuinely really try to behind the scenes put in a little growth growth challenges, like trying to put in an effort to grow our sport. All of us want to see rowing thrive in in Division One athletics, especially with the landscape of what's going on here. So that's, I kind of commented earlier on the call. That's the coolest thing, is that we were able to push them to do the SEC conference, and that's huge for our sport. And hopefully some schools will take a look at it. I mean, obviously the landscape is really challenging right now. I know some administrators are on Zoom calls that are 10 plus hours a day in the conferences trying to figure out what's going to happen with the landscape. So I don't believe there's going to be any huge changes just yet, just because the house has to get settled and the landscape of college athletics has to really kind of get a little bit more even keeled. But then once it slows, I think there's a lot of interest there on what it might look like. And now that the conference is supporting the sport, it's pretty awesome to see. So I think Tennessee takes a lot of pride and takes a lot of responsibility too to perform in the sport of rowing. So, it does encourage other schools to see like what can be if you do sponsor rowing, because I think at the end of the day, all of us coaches really want to see the sport grow and really want to see it keep gaining a lot of attention. And it's so awesome to see everybody racing so well across the country right now, and just bringing in that popularity to the sport. And even Mark, you said with Texas just having a little excitement around that race. And, we hosted Stanford at home in Oak Ridge, and then the SECs are going to be in Oak Ridge. We also had the new Rocky Top invite. And so the SEC, I know we're really working hard to continue to expose the sport of rowing. I know other schools traditionally, like Washington, have had a lot of big events with Windermere. And so I think it's really cool to see something that's a little bit newer, since we don't get always a lot of change in this sport. The addition of the SEC and racing here in Oak Ridge in Tennessee, and the addition of that new conference is really big for rowing, regardless of the amount of schools for now. But I do think there's been a lot of chatter and a lot of interest within the ADs to ADs, especially after we had our conference meeting in Birmingham. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach. For our final question here, we'll go back to the broadcast team and Lauren Schmetterling. Go ahead, Lauren.
I have a question for Coach Rothstein. I'm curious to hear from you. I've been really impressed with the culture of Michigan rowing over the years, and the team. How are we going to see that play out on the water over the course of the 3 races this weekend?
That's a stumper. I don't know. We'll see. I think, to me, that's just that's such a Michigan, that's not a Michigan rowing thing. That's just a Michigan thing. And it started with Bo Schembachler, and it's just something I've always believed in is the team concept, and that this is not about me. It's not about the All-American or the Olympian or any individual. It's about the team. And I think that's just fundamental to how we recruit, how we coach. And I think that we have to be fast. We have to get to a certain level before that's going to matter. But I think what it has helped us with, I can say this year, is there's that, like I said earlier, we didn't start well, especially our race against Yale was just really not good. And I think when you have that kind of performance, it's you have to kind of look at that and open up the hood a little bit and see what's going on with your program. And but I think that there is a really strong base with the team. There's really strong leadership. It's not a culture issue. It's not a leadership issue. It's not a work ethic issue. It's really just we're rowing the boat like crap, and that's fixable. So, and the team is they've really stuck with it, and when you have a team like that, there's some years it just kind of clicks from like your first race or even like your first rows in the spring. And like for us, which is usually spring break, and you can just tell, okay, this team's fast. And those years are nice, but most years aren't like that. Most years it's a work in progress. You go through some ups and downs. You have to figure things out. And I just really like our team, regardless of results. I just think that they are one of the best teams we've ever had. They're not necessarily one of the fastest, but they they're going to keep fighting. So you'll see a team that will fight. They'll row 2,000 meters. They're not gonna give in or give up. And there's a lot of speed. So I don't know what kind of results we'll get, but I think we'll row with a lot of pride. So I'm excited. I just think, like I said at the very beginning, I just think this event has gotten so good, and there's so many good teams and so many teams that weren't a part of the Big Ten or weren't necessarily at the level, like you look at Penn, you look at Tennessee. I mean, these are two of the top programs that weren't necessarily that way, even 5 years ago. And so it's just, yeah, I just think every race is going to be really exciting.
Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you, everyone, for your participation today, especially these 7 head coaches for giving us their time, but really all 23 participating schools to make this such an excellent event. Thank you to our media members, to Mary, and to all the organizers down in Sarasota for making this happen. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, please make sure you've got your broadcast prep into Caroline and Lauren for your SIDs. Every SID has received an email to this point making that request. That will go a long way towards delivering a quality broadcast. And thank you again to everybody here for participating. We're looking forward to making this the best Big Ten Invitational so far. Good luck to everyone and safe travels this weekend.